think the one thing I could probably give some insights to for people is essentially the next 2 weeks are actually quite big. So we have jobs data coming out at the end of this week on Friday.
The retail market isn't really interested at the moment when there's, not much volatility, whether that be up or down. In fact, I think this is some of the lowest volatility we've had on Bitcoin since the 2022 bear market.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Crypto Catch-Up. I'm Pav, and with me, the Bling and Ted.
G'day Pav, how you going?
What's that around your neck? What's that all about?
These old days?
Yeah, it's like you didn't. That's the biggest tee up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm wearing two very shiny gold chains with diamonds because this week I'm the champion of the...
They're real, right?
Of course. Mate, we're in crypto. We wouldn't be wearing fake bling.
Yeah, we wouldn't be faking it.
But yeah, from now on, for anyone that's listening on the podcast, the winner of the TICTIPPING, the Tapping the Crypto Tipping comp, will wear the coveted gold chain. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But what else is happening?
Jesus. That's where we are in the cycle right now. We've got, blinged out tipping comp memorabilia.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the top, I think.
I think we are. We talked about getting like a WWE style belt.
Yeah, that's what we're working up towards. Yeah, actually, that'll be top of the market.
Yeah, that's when it's time to sell for everyone listening.
What's happening? Not much, mate. Had a great weekend. Sunny days in Brisbane, much like today. It's pretty good.
Can't complain with the weather. But what we can complain about is the market doing absolutely nothing.
Bloody boring.
Yeah.
Bloody boring.
What's the story?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of things happening. I think overall the sentiment's great. I think we're going higher, in my opinion, at least in the coming months. But I guess it's just to come before the storm, really. I think we've talked about it in the past as well. Mm-hmm. If you look at all the previous cycles from the halving date, it's usually about 2 to 4 months that things start to melt up.
Yep.
So I guess we're just waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what are you thinking?
Well, yeah, no, it's not much action happening, and when there's not much action, that's typically when interest is at its lowest.
Yeah, we start buying stupid memorabilia.
Yeah, we start talking about things outside of crypto, which is not like us.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the same at the same time, the retail market isn't really interested at the moment when there's not much volatility, whether that be up or down. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think this is some of the lowest volatility we've had on Bitcoin since the 2022 bear market, where typically it drops to its lowest point and then just tracks along sideways for a while. But here we're at almost an all-time high and we're tracking along sideways. The market doesn't really know where it wants to go.
Sideways be sidewaying.
But look, these opportunities, or these times present opportunities to do a heap of research into where you're going to go next into the market and strategize for what's coming next.
Correct answers.
And obviously, we're always breaking down what we think is going to come next. But what I want to try and unpack here is where Bitcoin could be going this month in June and for the coming months in 2024. So we're looking at a breakdown here of Bitcoin's returns pretty much over every month since 2013, and typically June is a bit of a nothing month. It's on average it's up less than 1%, so it's pretty stock standard, not much movement. But and then leading into the later months of the year, you see the Octobers and Novembers and Decembers. They're usually your big months, and typically Q2 will be a big month, but so far it hasn't been. Q2 on average is about 27% in since 2013 up, that is, but we're actually down about 3% in Q2, and there's still a bit of the month left to go, so that might change. But yeah, so far it's a little bit different to previous years. But it's a good thing to look at to understand, because markets typically operate in a similar fashion where, the stock markets, we have months sell in May and go away and people go on holidays, and we have the Santa Claus rally, and these things you can't base everything on them, but there is
Santa Claus rally, I believe.
Yeah, there is some.
You got to believe in
something.
This.
Yeah, of course. I believe in Santa Claus. So
Easter Bunny rally, not in for that.
Yeah, not about that. But yeah, what's your take? Do you think we'll sort of trudge along for the month of June like previously, or do you think we're in for some juicy action?
Yeah, I mean, I've got an interesting take potentially. I know we're kind of permeables because at the end of the day, crypto markets as a whole, if you look at it holistically, apart from shitcoins in between, it's up and to the right from all time, right? So like it's easy to just be a bull rather than a bear. But right now, like I think to speak to exactly what you said from those data points, you can see historical returns in June. They still have been positive in this sort of phase of the market cycle. So not being in a bear market, we're more closer to being in a bull market condition. So generally is more positive. I think the one thing I could probably give some insights to for people is the macroeconomic calendar.
Oh God.
I'll keep it short, but
Please.
essentially the next 2 weeks are actually quite big. So we have jobs data coming out at the end of this week on Friday, and the reason why that's important is because a lot of the sort of tone about rate drops or monetary policy conditions improving has been around jobs falling apart. It's unfortunate, but that's what it's going to take for something to sort of crack and maybe a decision to be made a bit sooner. The other part of the puzzle, as we've talked about for too long now, is inflation. So we have pretty big inflation data next week, Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday in particular, we actually have the new funding rates data coming out from the US and just the general stance, the statement, the press conference, the pageantry. It's all happening next week. So I would almost assume that I wouldn't be surprised if the market cooled off and we saw a bit of de-risking, a bit of hedging activity. That's historically what we have seen around this time of year when these sort of releases are coming up in quick succession, because I still think at the end of the day, if I had to speculate, a lot of these data points, they are sort of presented in such a way that they're lagging, and once they do start to uptrend, they continue to uptrend. So for example, in this case, if it's inflation, if we're starting to see inflation downtrend, which we have for the last month, I would assume that trend would show itself again this month. So I think things will look better, and that sort of ties in very nicely to what you mentioned about the historical returns. Like it is just from a seasonality perspective, we're moving into more favorable conditions, and I think even from a monetary policy perspective, we could start to see that sort of happen as well. But if I'm looking at a chart of Bitcoin, which I've got up here on the screen, I've got a range here from the April high to April low. We've been tracking this bad boy for quite some time. There is some significant technical levels underpriced now around the 64K mark. Specifically, if you're a Fibonacci sort of person, there's a 618 retracement level there. We also have a pretty big inefficiency gap that we left on this most recent breakout. So usually breakouts, those levels can be retested before we move away higher, historically speaking. And then also just from a trend perspective, the 200 moving average on a 4-hour time frame, which is that blue squiggly line, that's also sitting at about 65K as well. So that generally tends to be almost like a mean or median or some sort of midpoint, some sort of like fair value point for people that are trying to follow a trend as well. That's currently there as well. So for me, there's more reasons to potentially go down, and that sort of feeds into if everyone's being a bit bearish, right, or just protecting their positions right now. We talk about there's smart money in the system now. They're your classic example of people that when markets are consolidating, they will take short positions to sort of de-risk their portfolio balance and then take those shorts off when the markets start to trend. That's a very, very normal portfolio management sort of action. So I don't know. For me, I think for the next 2 weeks at least, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see things fall down a little bit. But at the end of the day, I still think we go higher. Unless something catastrophic goes wrong.
So to sum it up, short term bearish, long term bullish.
Pretty much. Short term, let's see mid-60s. I think that would be great. Also just gives us a bit of an opportunity to buy back. But I will also just add, just to be that perfect fence sitter, crypto markets, if you've never experienced them before, they often do leave people in the dust. So if we do start to see like a melt up, where let's say something just cracks a little bit sooner and all of a sudden there's a bank being bailed out and all of a sudden there's all this excess money being put in the system, I wouldn't be surprised to see if we just grind up out of here. And as much as a chart looks potentially like it could go down, we may not. Like unfortunately, technicals don't rule everything. But it gives us some idea of what people might be looking at to get interested. And I would dare say like there's enough things happening down there to get a few people interested. So, I've still got all my spot positions that we've sort of talked about. We both spoke about. We added in that dip in May. So I'm just sort of sitting and waiting to see what happens next.
Fantastic. Love the breakdown. Pav the fence sitter.
Bit of a long one, but I think I've got one leg a bit on the bearish side than
Okay.
the bullish side.
I
So,
like it because
yeah.
usually, we do sit on the bullish side. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see an alternative opinion. But look, let's dive into the top movers for this week. So the big trend this week has been Notcoin. Like, I don't know if anyone's heard about it, but it went up like over 300% in the last week. So it just left all the other altcoins in the dust pretty much. So to break it down, it's a play to earn token that's
It's actually
part
something
of
behind it.
yeah. So it's part of the
Have you
open
seen that
network.
white paper? Sorry, keep interrupting you.
No,
It's
part of
literally 9 blank pages.
okay, right. Oh, is it?
Yeah, like literally 9 blank pages.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah, it's
so
not a coin. It's not a.
interesting. Well, so it's been described
I
as
just thought
like
you'd find that interesting.
yeah. Thanks for keeping interrupting me. It's been described as a play to earn token that's part of the open network, otherwise known as TON.
Yeah.
So it's basically integrating with Telegram and accessing that market. Obviously, Telegram has a ton of users, and
huge amount.
it's a fun, addictive game where people can earn these tokens through Telegram, and it actually surpassed 35 million users
Wow.
in the last
Huge.
week or so. So that's kind of triggered this huge run up. And like, I guess the other thing, I guess it kind of can fall into that meme category. Like you said, it's a white paper is literally nothing.
Yep.
And that's the other sort of narrative that we're seeing playing out, where we're seeing Brett, which is a meme coin. What else? Dog. So that's actually an ordinal, which so I think the full name is Dog Goes to the Moon or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was it.
So, I mean, nothing surprises me in crypto anymore.
Nah, you just got to be ready for it, right?
Yeah,
It is what it
exactly.
is.
So I think it's the first ordinal that's really entered the top 100 in terms of market cap.
Yeah, I need to get better at tracking that market, but yeah, it is right. Like it's the first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. So
okay.
it hit the top 100, I think, in the last day or so. So,
nice.
like, the top 100 is just filled with meme coins these days, which like I said, doesn't really surprise me anymore. But
It is what it
yeah,
is.
any other trends to make out, whether it be in the green or the red, Pav?
I like ENA. I know is a project we've spoken about recently as well. It's offering stablecoin yields in the form of basis trading, which is a little bit different to anything we've seen. So people see high yields on stablecoins and they just instantly think Terra Luna. So they're a pretty unique project. I recommend people go check out for themselves and see if it might be something they're interested in. They're up 15%. So, I mean, I've been watching that one for quite a while. Every time we've had a bit of a dip, ENA has been bought up very, very rapidly.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Ondo as well. So for me, it's been Ondo and ENA. My own personal trading, I've been following them very, very closely. I think everything else, I don't know, like I sort of said, I think the next 1 to 2 weeks will sort of dictate a lot of what we see across the market. Like if we see Bitcoin pull back to 64K, I think a lot of these altcoins could take a bit of a sharp dive. And, you know, we've seen a lot of big breakouts in recent time. I wouldn't be surprised if they just come straight back to the breakout point again. Leave a lot of people flat-footed and wondering what the hell just happened. So that's kind of something I'm watching. I do wonder how the meme cycle's going to go after this next little rotation. I wonder if we start to see. So when we think about like the crypto market cycle as a whole, it's a lot of time going sideways and then a short amount of time going up. I think we're about to see that with the meme coin category in particular, where we've gone up and up and up. Like, yes, they've been big moves, but it's because they're low market cap. But we'll have this big move, very similar to like Doge Day last cycle, where we might see Pepe enter the top 10, and then we start to see the rotation into the other categories as well. So I wonder if we're getting closer and closer to that sort of.
It is getting a tad saturated, isn't it? Like, there's just new meme coins popping up in top 100, top 200 every day now. Like, and it just seems like anyone can create a meme coin overnight and make it hugely popular if it has a community behind it, which is great. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think at some point it's got to, something's got to give.
There'll be a rotation.
Yeah, absolutely.
There could be GameFi and like, you know, layer 2s and stuff. We just haven't really seen that whole ecosystem take off yet, to be honest. But
yeah, for sure.
Meme coins to bring them in, gaming to keep them around. We'll see what happens.
Like it.
But that's it for me. I can't really see too much else to talk about there, to be honest.
Cool. Let's dive into the news headlines.
So,
Pav, you've got a big news headline for us. We've been talking about Biden and Trump over the last few weeks and how they're kind of treating crypto, and this is a big story that's come out of that.
Yeah, essentially there was a bill that was passed by the House of Representatives that essentially would look to allow some larger organizations, banks being the main one, to be able to hold and store and custody crypto and amongst all things increased adoption, right? Like that's what this whole bill was about, is level the playing field a little bit for everyone, increase that accessibility. So end of the day, it did require the US president to also allow it to go through. It's been vetoed. So we're now at a point now where I think the quote was along the lines of, This is from Biden. Appropriate guardrails that protect consumers and investors are necessary to harness the potential benefits and opportunity of crypto asset innovation. So obviously the takeaway there is they've just thrown that it's too dangerous on the label. But I think another part of this might be, as always, it's always politically driven. I think the original voting for it to even get passed to this point was mainly the Republicans, and only, I think it was 21 of almost 100 and something Democrats actually signed on it. So I think there are some vocal Democrats that do want to see crypto regulation, but it seems like, again, they're just vying for votes. I mean, what else do you read into this other than that?
I think from last week's news with the ETH ETF being approved, they were kind of like, okay, we've given them something, we can now reject this. Because, traditionally we've seen Joe Biden and the Democrats, align with the SEC and Gary Gensler there, and they're pretty sort of against crypto at this stage. The surprise was the ETH ETF being approved, and then I guess this came at no real surprise.
No, not really. Like, I think we said instantly, like, oh yeah, good. Like, I think one of the little caveats at the end of the last news article was this now requires Biden to not veto it, and I was like, cool, that's probably likely going to happen. Why wouldn't it?
Exactly. This shows a breakdown of the S&P 500 returns in US presidential years, and it shows a breakdown. So when a Republican was elected, average return was 15.3% versus when a Democrat was elected, that's about 7.6%. But the average across all election years is up 11.28%, which is quite positive. So, whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump or whoever, typically these are green years, and we've talked about that before, and that's one of the key catalysts driving the market this year. We'll see probably more money and stimulus pumped into the market, which will trigger a little bit more activity and volatility. But what do you make of that being the fact that Republicans are typically better for the market over the last sort of, 100 years or so?
Yeah, I don't know enough about US politics, but I mean, what we do know categorically is like monetary policy is what drives prices at the end of the day. So, and you can see like there obviously have been quite huge events that have pulled up on the Democrats' calendar. So there was like the 1960 Kennedy administration, you can see there's like 0.5% returns. I guess the war would have something to do with that, the missile crisis. And you've got, well, I guess you could say the Bush era was 2000, Obama in 08, negative 37%. So, I mean, for me, it's not too big of a trend, but I do like the whole sort of thesis around the election year has always been positive, and it's after the election year where you start to sort of see what, how solid is the monetary policy and how does the world look in terms of all the stimulus and the rates, etc.
I guess if Trump is elected, which I think he's more likely to be at this point, even after being found guilty of a bunch of fraud and stuff this week. I don't really know too much about it, but last time he was elected, Mark was up 12%. So that's something to take away if you want to look at something similar.
Again, if we're following the data, you'd expect the Republicans to do more. So,
But mate, you've got another story a bit more exciting here about Roaring Kitty, the guy who kind of triggered the GameStop pump last cycle.
Yeah, he's been back at it again. So he's been on his Reddit page or his Reddit profile posting his current positions. So might have seen GameStop up to the tune of like 100% pre-market open yesterday. Today we're recording on a Tuesday, so that was yesterday, Monday. He's essentially got a whole bunch of positions open. So just to break down his positions, the actual spot position he has is currently worth $33 million. So that's just in pure stock. And then he's also got a option call, which is essentially it's a derivative. So he's basically forecasting that price will be at a certain rate by a certain date. So in this case, he's put a bet on that by the end of June or the 21st of June, that the price of GameStop stock will be over $20. So it's currently trading at $28. So he's obviously in the money right now, and that's currently up $54 million. So he is sitting on an unrealized profit of $85 million, with his total portfolio value at $290 million.
Yeah, not bad. That's probably close to yours, isn't
That's
it?
not bad. I wish. I don't know what to make of this one. Like,
I've got a question. Did it?
Yeah.
Last time when GameStop went to the moon and everyone was GameStop stock went to the moon and everyone was going crazy. Did he take any profits?
I have no idea. Like, you'd imagine that he would have done some, but I think one of the floating rumors right now, again, this isn't substantiated, but there's no way he's got enough capital to have these positions open. So they're wondering if there's a bit of collusion, a bit of a syndicate running on the back of this, potentially to help fund this campaign, to run GME up again.
That would make sense.
But I have seen overnight, I think it was $1 billion worth of shorts have closed out just overnight. So obviously the bulls are in control in that scenario for now, at least. I mean, do you think that we could see the same thing we saw 4 years ago? It's just a human pattern repeating. They know that GME can pump and they want to get back in because they missed out.
It's kind of hard to tell. Like, we've already seen it before. So I think some of the hedge funds that were, paid the price last time, will see this coming, particularly, that it's done the same thing again. I don't know if he'll have as much of a pull this time around, but look, anything can happen. And like, I think it's interesting, and I think this is more triggered by crypto, but these communities and sort of the meme side of the internet is having a lot more sort of sway in traditional markets than it ever has, because memes weren't even around over 10 years ago, right? And now all of a sudden, like, Reddit groups are pumping certain stocks and wiping out shorts across hedge funds and things like that. It's like, are we going to start to see hedge funds start to hire meme experts who are just in the weeds of Reddit and Discord groups every day, like trying to uncover different things? Like we see it in crypto, like people who just are in Discord groups looking for the next meme coin to pump. Like they're going to be the millionaires. And like it doesn't seem like that hard to do, but obviously, if it was easy, everyone could do it, right?
Yeah. It definitely, again, you're trying to start a movement, right? Like, it's a community-driven thing. Something like this is crazy. But, I don't know. I mean, the fact that they keep talking about how, you can't do this, they're just scammers, they're just pumping and dumping. I'm like, well, it's kind of just turning the tables, right? I kind of feel like if you think about, like, the closed groups and the pools that actually run price up sometimes with these organizations, they've got billions and billions of dollars at their disposal, so they can kind of really choose which way the trend can go when they want to. So I think they're just getting a bit annoyed that everyone else is turning the tides on them.
I've got a hot take. I reckon everyone's going to turn on this roaring kitty. I think you can't be. You see yourself as a hero for too long until everyone. What if he becomes a villain this time? Is that what you're trying to say? I think so. I think he's either going to dump on everyone, or maybe money, he's working, with some institutions. In the dark. I don't know, but I just think he can't keep going on and posting memes and everyone loves him. I think everyone's going to turn on him, and I don't know what the reason will be for, but something to watch for, because he's literally just posting memes about Uno on Twitter.
Do you get this one? Like, I might be showing my age here, but
I think
this is the one that he posted recently, which made it go up 40% within an hour.
I think it's an Uno reverse card. Maybe it's something to do, like, price goes up, shorts get wiped out. I have no idea.
Okay, so we're both in the dark.
Maybe we need to hire meme experts to come on here.
Let's go. Look, this is wild. But look, this will be one that obviously we look forward to covering in the many coming weeks. Just keep an eye on the stock market. Let's see if we get round two.
Cool. And before we head off, let's dive into the tick tipping for this week. Bit of my favorite part whenever I win. So to wrap up last week, or to kind of sum up last week, Pav finished on a $9,240.
That's
rough, mate. What happened there?
That was bonk. So I held on to bonk for too long. Probably should have seen that it had run too much. But look, I was sort of begging on market momentum to continue. Saw that cool off, and here we are. I think it was Whiff. Whiff literally ran next, so I probably should have seen that coming.
You should have got on Notcoin.
Yeah, Notcoin too. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Well, I mean, that describes it perfectly. We're not seeing new money coming in to sort of keep all these guys up. It's just a rotation. So that's, again, it's a good one.
And what do you got for us this next week?
This week? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of want to take the approach that I was going to take last week, so I'll do it this week. So I'm going to go into Bitcoin. Controversial. USDT.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? And Ethereum. So I'm just taking a very defensive stance. Again, like, I just can't see anything that's looking like it's setting up for a huge win in the next 7 days. I think long term there's lots of potential in a lot of assets. But I couldn't see anything that I was looking at that I was like, cool, this looks juicy. And I still think, even if Bitcoin takes a sneeze and it goes from 69 or wherever it is right now to 67, like, or 68.5, that's still enough for some altcoins to go down 20%. So, I really want to win this week. So.
It's hella boring, but I kind of like the different approach this week.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. Just to recap on last week, I finished on 10,362.
Well done.
My big winner there was Tia.
Tia had that
Celestia.
great breakout.
Yeah, it was one of the top movers over the last week.
It was a good one.
The other ones I had was Sol and Rando. Didn't do too much there, but Tia really carried me.
Yeah.
This week, I'm actually going to jump on Whiff. I'm seeing, Dog go to the moon, and we're seeing Notcoin and some other meme coins. Pepe killed it a couple of weeks ago. So I think Whiff has been trading in between a range for a little while, and I think it's due to head somewhere, whether that be up or down. I'm hoping it's going to be up. And the other one was Brett. So I think Whiff is due for some action. OM, so Mantra DAO, it kind of falls into that real world asset narrative, and it's also partnered up with Ondo. So I think it's in a good position. It's already had a little run up, but it's now entering price discovery sort of territory.
Yeah,
given that it's kind of transitioned into this narrative, because it's been around for a while, but that's what these projects do, right? They just say, we're now an AI project. But anyway, I think, and I saw some big traders on Swyftx were trading OM, so that's potentially the reason for the recent pump.
Using your resources well, mate.
Absolutely, mate. I've got to win this. I take this more seriously than I take my job. And then I didn't really fancy too much else, so I'm going with the conservative USDT and letting the two big ones kind of take me to new heights.
So they say.
Let's hope so.
Mate, I like it. See who comes out on top here. I think...
See who gets the coveted gold chain.
Yeah. All right. Is that a wrap?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. All right. Thanks, guys.
Let's call it there. Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thanks very much.